Hi there, this is Danny Flexen and welcome to this week's edition of SecondsOut ReFLEXions. Every Monday 4:30 PM we just take a look back at a weekend's boxing action. And this weekend is all about California. 3 big shows all taking place in the Golden State across the weekend. First 2. There was 2 on Saturday night and 1 last night, Sunday. Biggest one that you'll hear most about, I guess, is Gervonta Davis, who I focused on in last week's FLEXpectations. He lived up to expectations and FLEXpectations as it turned out, destroying a game but outgunned and outweighed as well outsized Hugo Ruiz in the first round. The fight was stopped a minute before the end of the round. Ruiz had been down once, been pummeled by the faster, bigger, more powerful Davis. Looked amazing, looked explosive, but obviously against an opponent who was known best for being a super bantamweight rather than a super featherweight. And he'd come in at short notice to replace former 3-weight world titleist Ramirez, who unfortunately has a detached retina and was forced to pull out of the fight. We don't know what's going to happen with his career going forward. The best thing about this, not only did Davis look good and put himself back in people's thoughts, he also said he expects to be a lot busier this year than he has in previous years. So we could see him another 2, maybe 3 times in 2019. Purists, hardcore fans, we're hoping it's against Lomachenko. That may or may not happen. You know, there's promotional issues to deal with there. But any bigger fights for him would be appreciated. Davis is a very exciting talent. He's unbeaten. I think he's stopped or knocked out 12 opponents in a row now. You should watch the knockout. I think we've got it on our YouTube channel as well. So once you've watched this, flick over, watch his knockout, watch his post-fight interview. They're both pretty exciting. Definitely a man to watch in 2019. Still young as well, Tank. So we're looking forward to seeing what he's got to offer for the rest of the year. We also got to see... so that one was out in Carson, California. We also saw Ishe Smith perhaps come to the end of what's been a long and storied career. First ever world champion, I believe, from Las Vegas. Unfortunately fell in 3 rather one-sided rounds to Erickson Lubin, who was previously known for getting destroyed in a round by a Charlo brother, losing his unbeaten record in the process. So he's redeemed himself to an extent. On the flip side, Ishe Smith getting on a bit now. He's won his world title, he's become a bit of a gatekeeper of sorts, but he got well and truly hammered by Lubin, so it might be time for him to call it a day. On FLEXpectations, I actually suggested it might be worth having a bet on Ishe Smith. Now, I wasn't the only one saying that, but I have to hold my hands up and say, well, I was wrong. I hope I didn't lose you too much money. Don't come and ask me for the money, even if you did lose it. I haven't got any to give you, but hopefully you guys haven't done too badly, and hopefully Ishe Smith can reflect on a great career, and maybe now is the time to call it a day. On the same night, there was another big show out in Indio, California. I think it was at the Fantasy Springs. We saw Ray Vargas have a tougher than expected fight with Franklin Manzanelli, I think his name is. WBC Super Bantamweight champion Vargas, obviously impressed when winning the title against Gavin McDonnell, defending it against Gavin McDonnell perhaps. I'll have to check that one. He had to get up off the deck, heavy knockdown in round 2. Then outboxed Manzanelli from range. He's got long arms, Ray Vargas, he's tall. Very good boxing skills, good hand speed. Showed real grit and determination to get back up and take the play away from his opponent. He said after the fight he's looking forward to unifications, but in his division there's already a unification been announced for this spring between the IBF champion TJ Dehaney and the WBA champion Danny Roman. So those guys are going to fight. So he's kind of shut out for now. WBO champion Emmanuel Navarrete, who Vargas didn't mention after the fight, a bit of a danger man of the division. He recently brutally beat Isaac Dogbay. Brutal decision win there. It looks like those two are going to go back at it in a rematch later this year. So that'll have to be cleared up before Vargas can get his awaited unification. But it was well worth watching. Also on that show, we saw unheralded American Andrew Cancio upset the odds. A bit of a feel-good story. It was widely thought that his fight against WBA secondary, I guess you'd say, after Tank, super featherweight champion Alberto Machado, was something of a mismatch in Machado's favour. Cancio, he's lost before. It was thought that he wouldn't be able to stand up to Machado. And I think Machado dropped him early on, so it was looking like it was going to the script. No, Cancio was having none of it. Not only did he get up with renewed vigour, he then took the fight to Machado, strafing him with body shots and then switching to the head, put constant pressure on, cut off the ring well. Machado started to run out of steam by the 4th round. His defence started to fall apart. Cancio took advantage, dropped him I think 3 times in the end, smashed him to bits, and we now have a fairy tale story, a new WBA, whether it's secondary or not, super featherweight champion of the world. I think he still has a full-time job for his local gas company as well. He's a real kind of Cinderella man, kind of humble humble, hard-working hero, Andrew Cancio. So long may he reign. You know, he's certainly going to be exciting fights with him involved. I think, you know, given his past and given his record, I think a lot of challengers will be gunning for him now at super featherweight. But hell, if he could do that against Machado when everyone was against him, who knows what he could do against some of the challengers. Maybe he's one of those fighters, a bit like Tevin Farmer, I guess, will grow with his career, grow with these wins, grow with the title. So let's see, but a real heartwarming victory. Last night we switched to Fresno, so yeah, another California show. Local hero, Jose Ramirez, WBC super lightweight champion. He defended his belt against Jose Zepeda. Zepeda previously best known certainly in the UK for his aborted world title fight with Terry Flanagan, WBO lightweight, where he dislocated his shoulder, I believe, in the first or second round. Fight was called off, Flanagan won. Yeah, not great for Zepeda, unfortunately, and he's had a stop-start career since then. Read a great feature in Boxing News by John Evans on him last week, just talking about the struggle he's had to come back and all the things he's had to change in the background. Really interesting. I advise you to pick it up if you get a chance. Zepeda put in a really good performance. He outboxed his opponent early on, but Ramirez, backed by a voluble local crowd, came back strong, had the better stamina it looked like, really took the fight to his opponent in the second half of the contest, pulled it tighter on the cards and eventually came through via majority decision. Ramirez deserved it, lives to fight another day, but Zepeda showed enough to prove that he's a real threat at the world-class level, even up at super lightweight, so he shouldn't be too disheartened. You know, I think he'd only been beyond 6 rounds a few times previously, and he'd never been the 12-round distance. So maybe he just needs to go away, work on his stamina and conditioning and come back even stronger. You know, Ramirez is a good fighter, so there's no shame in losing to him. While we're on the California theme, last week I was lucky enough to speak to Joe Joyce, unbeaten heavyweight contender, Olympic silver medalist, from London of course, but at the moment based out in California with Abel Sanchez up in the Summit and Big Bear, alongside such luminaries as Gennady Golovkin, Murat Gasayev, people like that. Coming along really well. A lot of people think Joe Joyce can be hard work. He's a bit quiet. He opened up a little bit to me. I'm not taking any credit for that. I think he's just more at home, more happier, relaxed out in California, away from any distractions. Joe also a bit of an artist in his spare time. Oil paints, acrylics. He's got a degree, university degree in fine arts. There's a lot more to him than meets the eye. Next week he goes up against Bermane Stiverne in his biggest step up so far, former world champion. That's on the big February 23rd bill, topped by James DeGale against Chris Eubank Jr. at London's O2. Joyce is coming over about a week before the fight, but as it stands, he's still toiling away in the snow of California currently. They do get snow, apparently. But I did a feature article based on the interview with Joyce. You can get that on the SecondsOut and Max Boxing websites currently. So if you'd like to have a look at that, it'd be great to get your comments on the article as well as these videos. So rounding up, we'll be back next week, Monday, 4:30 PM, to reflect on that weekend's action. But for now, just leave your comments below. Which performance impressed you most at the weekend? Tank Davis looked destructive, but he was expected to win. Andrew Cancio, meanwhile, upset the odds. So maybe he impressed you more. Maybe Erickson Lubin coming back from what he did from his defeat against one of the Charlos to batter Ishe Smith. Maybe that caught your eye. Let us know what the performance of the weekend was and why. And also, just let us know what you think of Joe Joyce. Is he a contender or a pretender, and why? And has he made the right move going out with Abel Sanchez up in California in Big Bear? Great to hear from you, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.